fuck all the brands, fuck the name brands and the this and that and the logos. Like, my skin complexion doesn't really matter. I'm black, I'm pro-black, all the work that I make is pro-black. When I pick up the pen, I just kind of sometimes let the figures create themselves. It was one of the scariest moments for me because of imposter syndrome. Moving to New York really, really changed my life for the better.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah. I felt like this nobody person just like around and trying to figure out my life. It was a very hard time for me when I lived in LA.
The Créatif starts now.
It's Mars, lover of all things iconic, and welcome to another episode of the Creative. Hope your week has been great. This is a show, if you're new here, where we kick the shit about all things creative, getting into how you, me, and we bring our imaginations to life. Hope this week has been creative for everyone. It's been kicking out for me, but I think that's because I'm not working a 9-to-5 anymore. So the creative flow is just really, really coming these days, and I appreciate it. If you didn't know, I am a museum nerd. I can look at art for hours. I can spend hours in museums. I remember when I went to Paris for the first time, I bought like the museum pass where you can go to all the different museums. And I was in museums all day to the point where I forgot to eat. So I'm really, really, really excited about today's guest. I'm a huge fan of their work. And every time I look at their work, I feel like a sense of familiarity, if I'm saying that word correctly. And they're definitely one of my favorite minimalists as well. So please welcome to the show, Fritz.
Hello, everyone.
Fritz Von Eric, that is.
Yes, Fritz
Sorry, I was calling you Eric for the longest.
A lot of people call me Eric. I feel like it's because people don't know that, like, Fritz is my real name.
Fritz. Okay.
But it's fine. Like, people usually call me Fritz. Sometimes people call me Vaughn. And then when people just don't know, they say Eric.
Really? But you prefer Fritz.
But yeah, you can call me Fritz.
Okay, perfect. Well, thanks for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I've been a fan of your work for a very, very long time. I have a list of like artists whose art I need in my home, and you were on that list. So when I saw you at the Juneteenth Topicals party, after meeting you a year before that, I was like, this is the time. I'm very awkward in spaces like that, but I was like, just go for it. So I'm happy to have you here and that you said yes to coming on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I was like, yeah, I'll come. Why not?
Yes, and let's get into it. So we're going to learn all about Fritz's art and his career, where he wants to take his career. But before that, let's get into everyone's favorite segment, which is Dream Gig. And this is where we manifest our dream jobs. And it can be anything from creating a capsule collection with Flamer or writing your own hit TV series. So Fritz, what would be your dream gig that you would want to manifest this week? It can literally be anything.
Let me see. My dream gig that I would love to manifest this week. You know, I don't know. It's funny that you talk about like hit series because I would love to do like a animation movie, like something very Tim Burton.
Oh, cute.
Like, I'm a real storyteller, really. So, like, through my art, I mean, I leave a lot up to interpretation, but, like, there's always a story there, and I would love to just kind of go further and really tell that. Whether it even be, like, a book or some kind of animation, but, like, I think that would be my manifestation, my dream gig.
I love that. And would you would tell the story, but would you also do the animation in the film too?
Yeah, I would love to do the animation. I'd love to do the character design, the story. I went to college. I studied film and television production.
Oh, so it's going to happen.
Yeah, but I never thought that I would really be in the art sphere. So like now that like everything's kind of piecing together, I'm like, this would be a cool thing to kind of get into one of these days.
Yeah. And do you think, as an artist who paints characters in different worlds, would it be like mind-blowing to bring them to life and have them have like movement and like...
I think that's the goal. That's like one of the ultimate goals. I would love to kind of bring it to life and really tell their story, like, and also tell our stories, like, through these characters that I kind of create in my mind. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay, my dream gig this week, I have so many, and I get to have a new one every week. I think my dream gig this week is going to be, I would love to create a capsule collection with Fadon, Norvazova, if that's how you say the last name. They're like a brand. They do boots, they do clothing and things like that, but their shoes are like my favorite of the moment. So I would love to create a capsule collection with them for the masses, and not like too much because I don't want to overproduce things, but like a cute 50 to 60 pairs of boots, because their boots are not cheap, so I don't think they would like sell out like that.
You never know.
Right. And if they do, then too bad. But I think that's my dream gig this week because I'm really in love with that brand right now.
Oh, I love that.
And now it's time to answer some questions from the creative community. And this is a new segment of the show where listeners get to send in questions about anything about the creative journey, or it can just be any random questions about favorite food or whatever you want to know. You can send in these questions to our DM at the Creative Pod on Instagram, or you can email us at thecreativecreativepod@gmail.com, or you can just find me wherever I'm at on social media. Just put in the comments and I'll answer it on the show. So this week, we have a question, and it says, when creating, do you think you should blurt out all of the ideas you have and then edit as the project moves along, or should you keep your ideas to a minimum as to not get overwhelmed? So Fritz, when you're creating, what do you think is the best recommendation? Let everything out and then edit, or keep things to a minimum and focus?
I think my process, it happens so like organically. I'm not really a big planner when it comes to things. So for me, I'm kind of like, let's throw out some ideas on the table and like, let's explore the feasibility of each one and how it would really work and what feels right, and kind of go from there. I think I'm like more like throw out some ideas and then let's like really see what works and what feels the best and how we can enhance it and grow from that one idea that we've selected out of all of them. But I don't know. I'm not really like a super planner, so do one thing and stick to it. I kind of want to just see what actually works, and I'm very open. I know that like change might happen at any moment. We could be working on it for like 3 days, and then I realize, you know what, this isn't really the best idea. Let's regroup and let's go to that other idea and see what's happening, or how can we combine both to really make something. So that's kind of how I operate. It's very sporadic and very feeling based, but I usually come from that place.
Okay. I think what I took from that is the word open. Like, I try to be open as well, because I used to be the person that be like, you're doing too much. And then I had to realize, like, these are my ideas. Like, this is my process, and there's really no rules to what you're doing. So I am of the belief that throw everything out on the table and see what works. Because I also, like, when you're creating, like, I think about, well, how am I going to pay for this? What's the budget? Like, how is all this going to work out? And it's just kind of like, it creates hurdles and blocks, and I feel like when you're creating, that's not something you want to put in front of your face up front. Like, just your ideas create so many visuals, and I feel that you should entertain them at least by writing them down and just putting them out so you can see them in front of your face, and then edit afterwards. Because most times when you're creating, what you start out is not what it ends up being. And I think that's just the beauty of the process.
Yeah, absolutely.
So thanks for sending in your questions. Please continue to send them in and we'll answer them. Welcome back. And now we're going to get into the interview of Fritz. Fritz is one of my favorite modern artists of the moment. Like I said earlier in the show, when I look at their work, I just feel a sense of, like, I've been there before. Like, I know these characters. And I also feel a sense of relaxation and, like, self-care looking at your work, which I want to dig into later. But I want to start at the beginning. So, like myself, you're from the South. You're from Houston, Texas. Yes. I'm from North Carolina. What was your upbringing like in Houston, Texas?
So my upbringing was really particular. I think I don't really know many people with my upbringing.
Mm-hmm.
I am the oldest of 10 kids.
Wow.
Yeah.
My grandma had 10 kids.
Yeah, I feel like these days, like, no one really has 10 kids that's, like, young. It's, like, always older people.
Yeah. Because what?
Yeah, but my mom had 10 kids. I think she had me when she was, like, 19.
Okay.
And then she didn't have her last one until she was 30. So imagine, like, a 19 to 30 having 10 kids.
That's crazy. That's like a kid every year.
Yeah, and I was the oldest, so I kind of grew up as like a parent in a way. Like I don't really feel like I was like ever like a kid. Like my brothers and sisters, how they would play and interact and do things. I was never really like that. I was always different and kind of responsible, but like I was in my own world. So it was a lot of that. Like I feel like I was born so responsible for like everyone around me. And then, but I also grew up in Third Ward too, where, you know, I got to experience a lot of the culture and black culture. And it was very rich there at the time that, you know, I was growing up. It was so different. I think now it's a little bit more gentrified. But it was very black, very Southern. And
so did you experience the black cowboy culture a lot growing up?
You know what? No, not really. I feel like, I mean, when you're from Texas, like the cowboy culture, it's kind of just embedded there. But at the same time, it's so subtle for us. Like, I think now we're experiencing like a cowboy kind of trend with Beyonce and Solange. But there, you know, people just wear their Levi jeans and their boots. Sometimes people wear hats, but like not all the time. But like, you know, you just see it and you don't really think too much about it.
Yeah, because it comes natural.
Yeah. So growing up, I never really thought too much about the cow. I realize it now that I'm older. And I see it reflected in art, and I'm like, okay, yeah, I appreciate it because this is what I grew up seeing. But it wasn't like a thing where I'm from. It was just kind of like a part of that world of being a Texan.
Yeah, I feel that. Because, I mean, when I would go, sometimes I would see, like, you would see people riding horses on the street, but that's not uncommon. So it's like it's not this thing that people, like, try to make it out to be.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry I interrupted you.
You're fine.
It made sense for me when I learned that you were from the South, why I relate to your work so much. Because, and I'm reading from my laptop, y'all, I didn't have time to print out my questions. When I look at the subjects in your work, they remind me of Black women I grew up experiencing, and they're often participating in acts of self-care and relaxation, such as a bubble bath and a glass of wine. Where do you pull inspiration from in creating these images?
I feel like I pull a lot of inspiration from just everyday life and things that I kind of experience or that I want to see us more in these spaces is kind of like a reminder to like do things. Like when you see someone in a bubble bath or you see one of the figures in a bubble bath, like that's a lot of me wanting to get home to my bubble bath or wanting to get home and just like drown out and listen to my music and have a glass of wine. And I feel like just how some artists write or they write music about what they're feeling or going through. I feel like a lot of the times with my figures, it's that in many different forms. So it's just like, yeah, I feel like we deserve, I know I deserve, I
Absolutely.
Want it. So it's kind of me just like in my zone, just like fantasizing. I started out as a doodler, so I always used to doodle when I was a kid on the side of my pages, and I have ADHD, so in class, instead of focusing on the teacher, I would just draw on the side of my page what I wish I was doing, kind of. And so I feel like that still carries on into my work today.
That's interesting. So when you went to school for film and art, like, is that what kind of elevated your doodles to become like these characters, or?
No, actually, not at all. I never really thought that I would put art out into the world. I never thought I would share these things. It was always something super personal. Like growing up, I always draw, I painted, I did a lot of things. I have 8 brothers, very masculine. They're all in sports. They're like macho. I was never like that. I was always just like not into that. I wanted to like just draw and like be in my own world. I like different things, so like I didn't really fit into that. So my escape was just kind of just drawing and painting and getting lost into my artwork. But as I got older, I was like, oh, I don't really know if this is like a path for me. I hated art class, and I think, you know, in my late 20s, when I really started just putting stuff out just for shits and giggles, and then it started getting recognized and people liked it, and I got responses from it when I was like, oh, hey, okay, maybe this is something. But it was never really like a plan. For me, I thought, okay, I'm going to go to school for film, television production, do some kind of job like that, and that's it. I never thought I would be like a visual artist drawing and painting. So yeah, it's all pretty like new and took me by surprise.
Yeah, I can tell when you talk about it, it's like it's still a shock to you a little bit.
Yeah.
Like people relate to my art and want to like have relationships with it. Like that's very, very special. I also noticed in your art that a lot of your subjects are isolated. So if they're taking a bubble bath, they're by themselves. Or if they're having a glass of wine, they're by themselves. And being that you grew up with 9 other siblings, is that where that comes from? Where you like you needing your space and being kind of introverted, being around people all of the time?
You know, I never really thought about it. Probably. I think too a lot of my eye comes from, I study photography a lot. Like when I started growing up, I was a teenager, I kind of stopped drawing and painting as much, and I just started getting into photography, and I was into the Tumblr world.
Oh my gosh.
And so
Tumblr.
Yeah. So I love portrait photography, and I feel like the figures I create, a lot of the times they are portraits of them. I feel like my photography eye kind of translates in a way to my figurative work, and it's very focused on that one figure or that one element or character that I've created. And so, yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. And speaking of photography, let's get into your creative process. So from bringing your art piece from imagination to reality, can you walk me through what that process looks like?
You know, it's so random. I could be like listening. I love music, so I could be listening to a song like SZA, Banks, FK, Twigs, Kalela.
All of the good girls.
All of the good girls.
Yes.
I love Baby Mother. Like, and
oh my gosh, me too.
Yeah.
I don't find many people that like her.
She really, if I listen to Baby Mother, I can knock out like 20 drawings.
Oh, wow. That is so good to know because I love her. Like, when I hear, yeah, bitch, I'm like, okay, I'm in for a treat.
And to be like, I love her, so I'm like listening to music a lot of the times, and it can inspire me to start something, and then as like the playlist goes on, I'll just kind of like start creating something a little bit different, or I'll start something. But music, it could be pictures I have in my head, conversations I've heard, just like people watching in New York. It really comes from so many places, but really I just start drawing. I'm not really much of like I said before, a planner. So when I pick up the pen, I just kind of sometimes let the figures create themselves.
I love that.
And I remember there was one time I did this one piece, and I didn't feel like drawing. I just really wanted to go home, smoke a blunt, have a glass of wine, lay down. I didn't want to do anything, but I just had this image in my head that wouldn't go away. Like it just kept saying, you have to put me out, you have to put me out, you have to get me out of your head. And I was like, okay. And I just listened and I just did the thing. And I remember I put it out and it was like, everyone loved it. And sometimes it's like that too, where it's like, I feel like it's kind of not even in my control sometimes what I'm making, but it's really cool.
And that's when you know it's what you're supposed to be doing, because I feel every time in my life where I've tried to like, I don't know, pick up a job to like pay bills, but it's taking me away from like my creative journey and what I really want to do, my body will not rest until I put myself back on the path I need to be put on. And I just feel like that's a sign from the universe, like, this is what you're supposed to be doing. And that always feels really, really great. It's also annoying because it's like you said, I don't want to do nothing but smoke my blunt and go to bed.
Right.
But you appreciate it. as the moments go on. When you start to create your art, do you draw it first and then go digital, or do you do everything digitally, or do you do a little bit of both?
I have like tons of sketchbooks just from years, and sometimes I'll sketch, but usually I'll start off on my iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of love working on my iPad because I can experiment with color, and I could start something, I could erase, I could go back and recreate it if I don't like, So I do a lot on digital, and it's just what works for me. It's easy. I love Procreate. I always have my iPad sketching, even if I'm on the train and I'm just like people watching and seeing people. Sometimes I'll do like a quick little thing on my iPad. But I want to get back to my sketchbook a little bit more ink on paper, and kind of just explore different mediums. But I do really, really love like my digital art.
Is Procreate like the platform that you use to?
Yeah.
Okay. Because I want to get more into digital art as well. Like as far as like creating, like I say, I want to sketch clothing or something like that. I just want to have like the freedom to like pick whatever color and start from a template or something like that.
I'm a Procreate fan. You can start from templates. You can pick your colors. You can start. If you like don't know what to do, you can come back to it. And I feel like on paper sometimes, and I love people that really sit down and draw on their sketchbook and they create, and they have that. Again, I have ADHD sometimes, so I may start something and then I'm like, you know what? I'm going to come back to this later. I don't really know where I want to go with this. And it's just different when you're working with like pen and paper or other mediums. But I love Procreate because it just allows you like the freedom to kind of explore and change things up a little bit more if you want to. And I definitely encourage anyone who wants to get into art or digital art and who loves to draw, explore with Procreate. Like, you can't go wrong with it. You could try different brushes and different elements and different things and see what feels comfortable for you. But I think it's great.
Okay. And does it have like you know how sometimes you'll have an app that you can start it on your iPad, and sometimes you can like pick it up on your phone. You can go back and forth, or is it just like solely an iPad?
You can do it on your phone too. I usually just do it on my iPad, and I also use Photoshop as well. So I'll usually start just Procreate, and then maybe I want to add some things and add more texture. And for that, I use Photoshop. So
I saw you playing recently with realism in your art, and I was like, ooh, I like this.
Yeah, I've been doing mixed media. I love like vintage magazines like Architectural Digest from like the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Yes.
And so I feel like those are like the perfect space where I can kind of see some of my figures in and come to life, and it's really cool. But I love mixed media too.
Yeah, like that world building, that's just like so cool. It kind of gives me like collaging a little bit, but just like on another level.
Yeah.
So it looks really, really cool.
Yeah, I love collage.
So cool. So being that you're from Texas, and when did you move to New York?
So I moved to New York in 2021. I'm going to say I moved to New York in January 2021.
Oh, wow. So not too, you haven't been here too long
ago.
Okay.
I'm like pretty newish to New York.
But you were like, I feel like I've seen you on social media for a very long time. So like, was it blowing up when you were in Texas, or you lived somewhere else?
I don't really know, to be honest. I feel like I didn't really start getting like a following personally until I moved to New York. I've been on social media for a while. I love just taking pictures of like the world and things that I see. So I've been on social media for a while, and a lot of the girls, we follow each other and stuff. But I feel like I didn't really start to like get followers and all of that until I moved here.
Yeah. Do you feel that moving to New York was essential to your creative journey? Like you needed to be here in order to be the creative you needed to be?
Yeah. If you ask my mom, she'll tell you. Like I always said ever since I was 6, 7 years old, I want to move to New York. I want to move to New York. And I used to say it all the time, and I wanted to move to New York my whole life. And then I would say when I was like 24 or 25, I was still in Houston. I worked as a 911 operator.
Oh my gosh, how was that?
Yeah.
Well, that explains the storytelling because you've heard so many great
I've
stories.
heard some
Or-
crazy
yeah,
stories.
crazy ones.
Crazy stories. But I was in Texas. I was a 911 operator making pretty good money out there. And I was like, I don't know if I really want to do this. Like, I don't feel like I'm really living, like, the life that I want to live. I want to get out of here. And I got the opportunity to kind of move to LA. I visited LA, and I was like, I think I could move here, or I can move to New York. I just know I'm not supposed to be in Texas anymore. And I started planning it. It took about a year. And then I settled on moving to LA because it seemed more cost effective for me. It wasn't as far away from home. And so I drove to LA. I lived in LA for 4 years. And it was nice, and I'm so grateful for it. I will always have a special connection to it. But moving to New York really changed my life for the better.
Yeah, I relate to that.
Yeah, so it's been incredible. I feel like New York has really helped me. The community that I've been able to build here, all the encouragement, the inspiration around you, the people. You know, we just met, and then here we are.
Right,
Yeah, so,
right.
And I feel like that is, in New York, stuff like this can happen. So and I love that.
That's what I love about New York the most is that you have access to so many things, whether that be, I don't know, some people like access to like designer clothes. Some people like access to community. Some people like access to endless inspiration. You can find all of those things here. And I feel like that's why New York is just like, it's like creative Candyland almost.
Yeah.
You just have to tap into the part that you need and elevate it. I'm really loving recently your depictions of Black queer love and some of your art. Are these images depictions of your current romantic relationship, or you're just finding inspiration in different Black queer relationships?
We're going there. Again, like I sometimes just create based off of how I feel and my feelings. And so, absolutely, when I feel connected and feel something from someone, I feel that feeling of intimacy. Sometimes just have to express it in the way of just picking up that pen and going or drawing. And so, yeah, absolutely. Like, and I feel like also, some of my older drawings, I expressed queer intimacy in some of my figures, and it wasn't really that I necessarily had it, but it was that it's something that I wanted to feel, and I'm now seeing it kind of come to
like
that.
full circle.
Yeah, so it's cool. It's nice.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. Is that how the commission with Serpent with Feet came about? Because that's also based on like Black queer intimacy.
Yeah. That one took me so off guard. So when I lived in LA, I actually used to see Serpent all the time, and I was just I felt like this nobody person, just like around and trying to figure out my life. It was a very hard time for me when I lived in LA. I didn't really have much sense of community. I wasn't doing art. I was just really trying to survive. And I remember I would always see him just in passing. And when I got the email, like, hey, it was his assistant or his manager, and they were like, hey, Serpent really loves your work, and he's working on this show, and he would love for you to create art for the show. I gagged. I was like, oh my God, 'cause I had, I had loved him for so long, and I loved his music, and I never thought that I would even have the opportunity to be asked that. It was one of the scariest moments for me because of imposter syndrome. I never planned on doing this, so when you suddenly get a big opportunity, you kind of choke up.
You do.
You're like, oh, I don't know if I'm cut out to do this or if I can do it right. And you start overthinking. And that's kind of how it was for me. Like, it definitely stressed me out because of myself. But Serpent was always so supportive and, loving, and the team was great, and we worked together to create, and it was great. And then when I got the chance to go to the show, I just cried. so much in the show.
As you should.
I cried so much in the show because not only was it absolutely magnificent and I felt like it really represented, me, and to see like another Black queer artist put something together like that, it was incredible. And to know that I also was a part of it. I just cried so much throughout that show. And then afterwards, we chatted. It was our first time really meeting in person, and we went out and we had dinner, and it was just really, really great. And I'll always be thankful for him. He's the first like major artist who I got to make something for.
Not the last, I'm sure.
Yeah. And he saw something in me, and he was so encouraging. I definitely had some fuck up moments during that process where I was like, I don't know if I can do this because of like me doubting myself. But him and his team were so encouraging, and it was a really, really wonderful experience.
Was it like a lot of back and forth, or did they give you like, this is the theme and the subject of the show, and we want you to like freestyle on what you visually think this would look like?
They gave me freedom, but they also had like notes about certain things, and also, sometimes when you have this vision for something, and also like you're collaborating with people. And for me, I think this is my first time really having to collaborate. So it wasn't just me coming up with like what I want. It's like Serpent wants this. This is the show. And I never seen the show before I had to make the artwork. So it was a lot of like, am I doing it right? Or am I, and it was just me. It wasn't them. But it was just an experience. When you're collaborating with people, I think you have to go into it with a certain mindset.
Yeah, absolutely.
That I didn't, not that I wasn't ready for, but I wasn't really used to. And now I'm just in a different place. So it gave me a great experience for sure.
And now that you are doing like more and more art and you're getting a bigger following for your art, is commission something you want to continue to do, or is it like you have to feel that if it's right for you? Because I know some artists hate commission pieces and they will not do it. I have one of my favorite artists at the moment is her name is Shayna McCoy, and oftentimes I feel like 10 out of 12 months her bio says commissions closed, and she'll maybe open it for 2 months, but it varies from artist to artist. So how do you feel about commissions?
I don't really like commissions either. I'm not really a commission person, but I also don't want to say I'm not accepting them, because there's definitely, people that I would love to work with and create things for. And there's a lot of people in my life that I would love to make things for, but I think commissions are just, they're a lot. I feel like some people are commission people, and some people are just, they operate how they operate. I operate how I operate. So when I get that pressure of a commission and I have to kind of have these boundaries, unless you give me total creative freedom and you say, this is all up to you. But when I have to like work with stipulations, sometimes I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. It's like throwing a wrench in just your creative process. It's like learning a whole new side of yourself and how to create. So it can be very, very overwhelming.
Yeah, but I also think that's a part of it. So I don't want to say that I don't do them. Typically, no. But also I'm super open. Look, I got some people on my list that I would love to do some commissions for. So, yeah.
Okay. I'm here in St. Huron. I just feel like it would be a perfect thing. It would make sense. You release your work on the internet, so you're opening up your work to like so much criticism from opinionated masses. Everybody from the internet thinks they're like critically acclaimed and shit they're not critically acclaimed in. And you were once questioned about most of your early subjects being dark skinned and what that means, being that you are a Black person of lighter complexion. Would you like to speak to how that made you feel as an artist, or just just anything? Would you like to speak to that?
I knew there were people that were just misinterpreting what I do. And art is really tricky because it's something that you look at and you feel it, or you see it and you might associate it with something, whether it be personal or impersonal. I don't really write a title for my work. I like to leave a lot up to the person watching to feel how they feel about it. And so even when it's negative and people don't like it, like I just like the fact that you felt something. But I also feel like my skin complexion doesn't really matter. I'm black, I'm pro-black, all the work that I make is pro-black, and that's just that. So I expect criticism because I'm out there and I put work out there, but at the same time, it doesn't need to be engaged with necessarily. If you felt how you felt, you're totally entitled to feeling that. If you don't like it, you can block me. I won't take it personally.
Exactly. And I feel like as black people, like we're not monolithic and we can tell other stories from our experiences as black people. And that really doesn't like, I don't know. I just felt it was very like silly. Like I get it. But at the same time, I'm like, that's something that probably should have stayed in your head because this is a black artist and they're going to tell experience from different black people of different skin tones.
Yeah, and my thing is like, it doesn't matter. Sometimes I just use black because honestly, I don't want to be too literal. I don't want to be I just want to express how I feel without giving too much away.
Yeah.
And I use the colors I use. I do it the way that I do it. It's not to make anyone feel any kind of way. That's just what I do.
Yeah.
And that's that. I don't know. And again, if people don't like it, they can just block me. Or
And that's
they
that
don't
on
have to see
that.
it.
Exactly. Is that where your Everyone Isn't an Artist piece came from? Did it stem from that moment?
You know, I made that way before.
Oh, really? So it came full circle.
So it came full circle. But also, like, again, when you put yourself out there, people are going to critique you. And I think even for me, when people come up to me and they compliment me, it sometimes will just take me off guard because I'm not expecting it. And also with compliment, there's also criticism. And then sometimes I'm not expecting that as well. But it's what you have to deal with as an artist when you put yourself out. Like a lot of people get negative reviews and a lot of people get positive reviews. My thing is I make things that make me happy and they make other people happy, and that's really all that I care about. So, you know, the rest, I don't know. I mean, if you guys don't like it, that's fine. That's fine.
I think it's like they love it. People just want to be nitpicky about certain shit. And I also feel like when you're creating things, like, make sure you like it at the core of who you are, and that's kind of all that matters. Everybody else liking it is like a cherry on top, but you're the cake. They're the icing. So just make sure you love it, and if you do, then I feel like that's the essential of being a creative. Like, yes, you can be open to criticism, and you can interpret my art in whatever way you want, but I, as an artist, I don't have to feed into it. And all I have to recognize is how it makes me feel. And that's kind of all that matters. And I think people kind of forget that.
Yeah. I mean, I make it for me first. And I appreciate everyone who it touches and if they feel something. But I'm making it for me, not for you. So if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't interact with it. Or if you hate it, you can say you hate it. I'm not going to care.
Yeah, because it's already out, and I'm not gonna take it down.
It's fine. I didn't make it for you, so it's fine.
Right. Does being in love influence your art? Like creating art as a single person and creating art in a relationship, like, do they differ?
I think for me, no and yes, because again, I operate so much off feeling. So sometimes, even when, and you know, I have a boyfriend, I love him very much. But even when we're mad at each other and I just want to, like, I just will draw and I'll write when I'm drawing how I'm feeling in those moments. And that's how I feel. Or sometimes I might feel really loving and caring, and I might draw something or draw figures that are very loving and caring and that are reflective of how we are when we're at home together and stuff. But it definitely influences, but sometimes not. Like, if I'm hearing my favorite breakup song, even though I'm happy with this, I don't know if I can say the N-word.
You can. You can say whatever you want.
Even though I'm happy with this nigga, I love him.
Okay.
I hear that breakup song that I know it's like my song, and I just get to drawing somebody who's pissed and feeling their feelings, that's what I'll do. So yes and no. Like I just really operate off of sometimes my emotions in that moment. But being in love, for sure. Anything that I'm feeling, whether I'm in love, if I'm sad, I'm mad, or whatever I'm feeling in the moments, I'll just pick up and I'll start there. So
I love that. I also have a fuck that nigga playlist. Whether I'm happy in a relationship or not, I play it often because I just like that energy of that aggression, and I also like the energy of like, songs that like. Are you a fan of Brandy?
Yeah,
I'm a huge Brandy fan, and she begs a lot in her songs, and I just like that feeling of hearing an artist beg for like forgiveness or get the fuck away from me. Like, so I definitely relate to that.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Sorry. You know who I like? I like Mariah the Scientist. She's a newer artist.
I haven't gotten all the way into her.
She's kind of has a dark energy to her, and her songs are like very, I don't know. To me, she takes you to like a certain time where it's like, I'm that bitch, but like at the same time, I'm emotional, and I'll like do some crazy shit. It's like kind of scary. But I just kind of love her energy, and I also feel like my like world is kind of adjacent to that. In a sense. My fantasy world is. So also, Mariah, if you are listening and you want to do something,
yes, let's get it. I feel like, I know of her like visually. She's a gorgeous girl, and I listened to she did a song with Kaytranada called "Add a Look," so I got into that, but I haven't gotten to one of her full projects. So which one should I start with?
Oh, she has this this mixtape. I don't know if I know the exact title, but it has Beetlejuice and Reminders on it.
Okay,
I'll send it to you, but it's really good. Those songs like take me. I can draw up to those songs like no tomorrow.
Okay, I'm gonna get into it. I read that being a fashion designer is on your list of creative careers. Does that still ring true? And if so, please tell me it's going to be menswear.
Okay, if I were to get into fashion design, it would definitely be menswear 100%. Even though I do a lot of like feminine work and feminine designs, and I love like haute couture and dresses and gowns and stuff like that, but I also like in real life, my love is with menswear and with like things that can just be worn by whoever. And so if I were to do fashion one day, which who knows, I would definitely do menswear.
I'm shocked that you haven't done a capsule collection for brands yet, because you are definitely one of the menswear influencers of today. I feel like you have put me on to so many brands. The ones that comes to mind immediately is La Mer. I saw you wearing the black slippers.
Yeah,
and I was
Mary
like,
Janes?
who? Yes, I was like, who makes these? So, I got to stalk on your page and found out who made it. But I was just like, the influence is there, so I could definitely see you playing in menswear, whether it's your own line or whether it's you going into other brands and like, working with them and collaborating on different collections. Like, I definitely see that for you.
Yeah, I would love to do like a collaboration or do like a capsule collection with someone one day. I mean, like even with the Mary Janes, the La Mer ones that you're talking about, I just love that style for a very long time. And a lot of like the way that I dress and put things together is so intuitive, where it's like, I know what I like. Number one, I want to be comfortable. I'm not going to wear anything that makes me feel uncomfortable. Number two, I just like a little bit of expression. I feel like, growing up where I'm from, I didn't really get a chance to kind of express my style. I feel like it was suppressed for a very long time.
Same.
And as I got older and I was able to kind of like see other things that I really, really liked, that I felt like, oh, this is more me, I could just put it together like very effortlessly. And that's what I like. I love to have some kind of quirky, fun kind of element, but I also, have my things that I feel like are my staple basic pieces, that I just love to wear and that I feel comfortable in, and I'll wear them all the time. So yeah, I would love to do like some kind of menswear collaboration one day.
I mean, it would make all of the sense. So brands, let's get it. What are your top 5 brands at the moment that are doing it for you?
I love this brand right now called Sinai. I think it's a European brand, but I really like Sinai. I like their use of colors, their accessories. I'm a huge accessory person, so I could wear like the most basic like shirt and pants, but like I love glasses and hats and jewelry and stuff like that. I feel like that's like what makes everything pop for me. And I love Sinai's accessories. I love else isn't a brand that I really love. I love Bodhi. I've loved Bodhi for quite a while.
Yeah.
They just really, really. There's a story behind the piece, and I just like what it gives. I feel like that would grow great in my wardrobe.
Yeah, I've always loved, growing up in the South, like quilt work and patchwork was just so prominent. It just takes me to a certain place. When I see their work, I'm like, it takes me back home. So I love that.
And if you feel like you're wearing like a craftsmanship piece, like you don't feel like you're wearing something that you could just easily, get. It's like you see what goes into it, the quality of the material. And I think, Emily does, she does menswear really well.
She does.
And it has a very unique take on it. And I think each piece is very special. And then what's my third one that I would say that I really, really love right now? That's a good one. I'm going to just go out and say, I'm going to say Marnie.
Okay.
And I do love Marnie. And I love Marnie because, like, again, I'm an accessories person, and I feel like they always add that, element of, like, fun. And they're very different, and there's, like, a pop in there. So,
every time.
If I want to wear, like, some basic jeans and sneakers, and then I can wear my big fluffy sweater or my, like, little silly Marnie mohair hat, I think it's wonderful.
I feel like your style is so effortless. And it's like you have it down to a perfect science. As you said, you focus on comfort. What advice would you give someone who is trying to find their personal style?
I would say, honestly, again, let's go with comfort. What are you comfortable in? Like, are you trying to look like everyone else? Are you trying to be on trend? But what is it that you actually really, really like? And then how can you build around that, Fuck all the brands, fuck the name brands and the this and that and the logos. Like, what do you really, really like? If you like, long, big, baggy pants, then, like, how can we make those proportions work for each other, where you could wear the pants that you're comfortable with the top that actually suits that? Or, I think proportions is a big thing, but also, too, like, just what makes you feel comfortable. I think a lot of the times we focus on the labels instead of focusing on us, like, and who we are. I think you're your own billboard when you walk outside every day. So
absolutely.
It's kind of like, if people don't know you, they see you, and they have to just judge you based off of what they see. Who are you?
Right.
Like, who do you feel like and who do you want to be? And it's not always about wearing the most expensive thing. It's just about making sure that, like, you present and you carry yourself in fully who you are. Yeah. Whether you're the gothic kid, the emo, or you're, super hip hop street style, or you're quirky, nerdy. Like, be you and express yourself in the things that you like and what make you comfortable. And to me, that's what makes you fashionable, is how you present yourself to the world.
Yeah. And I feel like people who see you in the world can pick up on, like, when you're authentically yourself and when you're not, based off of how you present yourself. So I think that's very, very important. Growing up in the South, I felt like you were saying earlier that you had to, like, suppress how you really wanted to present yourself to the world. And I feel like I had to do that too because of, like, homophobia and, like, in the South, that even before I knew exactly what being queer was, I knew that it was the wrong thing to be. So that's where, like, the suppression came from. So if in knowing that, is that something that you experienced, and how long did it take for you to actually find this path of, like, this is how I want to express myself? Like, was it a long journey for you?
It wasn't really a super long journey, because I think I realized early on that, like, I really don't give a fuck what people around me have to say. Like, I was a kid, and there was grown-ups around me who used to judge me and talk about me, family members and things like that. And I think I realized at some point, like, this is me. I'm not going to be here forever. I'm going to just be me and do me and dress and act like how I want to act. I always was like, I always had like a good sense of like things that I liked and things that I wanted to kind of do. It was never anything super crazy, but I just knew like when I walked into a space or when I went somewhere, people were going to kind of stare at me just because it was out of the norm, you know? But you know, I definitely felt the pressure. Like, I wasn't really a big in wearing Jordans and, like, sneakers.
I hated it.
Yeah, I was not that. My brothers, they loved Jordans and sneakers. The shoes I wanted were, like, half the cost of Jordans. But, like, people used to look at me crazy, like, you want those? I used to like, you know, the little Toms, and I wanted Vans, and I wanted, like, those kind of loafers and
yes,
stuff like that.
I loved my little leather Skechers.
Yeah.
So bad.
And, you know, because I wasn't into Jordans and dressing like, you know, hip hop kind of like, you know, that style, I didn't really like wearing baggy pants. I think I was the first person in my whole family, the first guy to ever wear skinny jeans when, you know, it actually was stylish. Not saying it's not anymore, but you know, it's just like I was just always expressing myself in different ways. And I just had to stop caring because I was like, yeah, like, I don't have to be around you guys. You don't really have to like me.
Exactly.
I'll be fine.
I remember, like, when I was 13 or 14, I was able to get a job as, like, at the grocery store back in groceries. And I was like, I'm getting this job because I can buy my own clothes. I can dress how I want to dress. Because when my parents were buying my clothes, you know, you have to kind of receive their feedback and input, and that was like my sole motivation. Like, I want to be who I want to be, and if that means I have to go back up these fucking fruits and vegetables, then that's just what it's gonna have to be. And that's kind of when I broke the mold of like, because like you said, I've always had a sense of like what I like and how I wanted to look, but it just never seemed to come together until I was able to 100% be like, this is me. This is how I want to look, and this is what makes me feel good, and I have not turned back since.
I love it.
And New York just kind of elevates that attitude for me.
Oh, absolutely.
Who were some of your fashion influences?
My fashion influences. Really, I mean, I don't really have that many, but I will say I love a good, cool girl, cool guy kind of aesthetic. Like, for me, Chloe Savini is like, you know, the
top tier,
classic New York cool girl who just wears whatever she wants and she makes it look good, you know? And it's very effortless.
Every time.
Definitely love Zoe Kravitz.
Oh, another good one.
Zoe, I mean, I actually do look at Zoe Kravitz and see what she's wearing, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna wear this.
Yes.
Because she's just like so effortless, easy, cool, like chic. And then I also love, I feel like it's all in the Kravitz family then today, because Lenny is
wow,
so iconic, and I just always loved him. I loved how he was like masculine and feminine at the same time, and he was just himself, and he didn't really care. And when you look at him, you just see like a really cool, stylish, tasteful man, even if he's wearing like a crop top and some lowrider jeans. He just looks so good no matter what, and you can tell it's mostly his confidence and how he takes care of himself.
And it's his style. Like, ever since I've known him, he's had this style through and through. Like, he doesn't veer away from it. I just think that's so inspiring. Like, he doesn't play into trends. Like, there may come a time where his style is trendy, but he doesn't veer away from like how he dresses, and I just like, wow, that's a good
so
one.
organic.
Yeah, very much. How important is fashion to your characters in your art? Because they always have on like a nice little slip dress or.
So when I was living in the hood and I was a kid, we used to get these Vogues. My grandmother, who we were staying with, had all these Vogue magazines that used to come in, and it had to be like 2000 and like 3, 4, 5, 6, and I just remember like flipping through. That to me, that was like Vogue's prime time, kind of.
Yeah.
For me, at least.
Definitely.
And I would just see all these avant-garde couture looks and these like really odd and kooky looking models. And it used to really inspire me. I loved it so much. I think it still inspires my work today with just what I used to see with like Stephen Missel and
iconic.
Yeah, like and like Tim Burton and all of them. So I don't know, it's like kind of a mixture of crazy cartoons and like me reading Vogue.
Because I feel like in animation and how you look at characters, do you feel that, like, I haven't watched The Simpsons in a long time, but I was watching them the other night, and I was just like looking at their clothes and how it tells a story about who they are. Is that kind of the same thing for your characters as well?
Oh yeah, absolutely, 100%. They all are who they are, what you see them wearing. It all tells the story about them. And again, I like to leave a lot up to the watcher and the viewer and let them interpret what's going on. And I think that's what makes it truly meaningful. But at the same time, I love this kind of fashionable element. And I think that just carries through in the photos I create, just naturally.
Yeah. If you had to pick one brand to live in for the rest of your life, what brand would it be?
Oh, one brand to live in for the rest of my life.
Like, do they have to make your pants, your shoes, your accessories? Like, they have to give you all of it?
Oh, wow. That's a really, really good one. Ooh, I would have to say my pants, my shoes, my accessories, I live in them for the rest of my life.
This is always a hard one. I ask
This is a really
every
hard one.
guest.
Jesus Christ, I don't think I was quite prepared for this one. I would have to say it would be... Oh my God, Mars.
Who comes first to mind? It's like, wow, I could just...
You know what? And this probably isn't a forever thing, but I think for the era that I'm in right now, I would be very interested if they were to kind of, if I was kind of like in that brand and exploring it and kind of wearing it, would be a Simone Rocha.
Oh, good choice.
I really, really, really love the clothes. I love the material, the fabric. I love like how they do lace and menswear, and it's very whimsical. And I think I want to kind of explore my whimsical side a little bit more. And I just like how they do it. So I don't know if it would be forever, but
that's
like,
a good choice.
For this era in my life, I would be definitely interested in like having Simone Rocha kind of take over and see what we could do.
Absolutely. I was looking at her Crocs collab, and I was like, I hate Crocs. Like, you can wear them around the house, but out, no. But when I saw hers, I was like, I would wear these out.
Yeah.
Like, she ate that. Because she brings, like, people into her world, no matter who she's working with, and I just think she's very, very talented. So that's a good choice.
Thank you.
When it comes to your content online, when I look at it, it always feels very intimate, like a behind the scenes, and it's always beautifully shot. Is that like the aura you're giving off? Like, I want to give like a little bit, but not too much.
I think that's just how it is for me. Like, I like to, live my life and share it versus like live my life to share it. So for me, it's like I just like capturing the moment of like what I'm doing and how I'm spending time and where the people that I love and me kind of relaxing and I'm really not like a huge person that likes to plan and I gotta do this and do that. I'm not saying I haven't staged a couple little street shots and stuff here and there, but like for the most part, it's just like I just like to kind of share my life. It feels more organic to me that way when it's just like natural when I take pictures and I kind of post them when I want to, or just kind of share certain things when I want to for me and like my memories, and if other people love it too, like I love that. So that's kind of how it is. I never really thought about it that way, but like now when you say it, I'm like, oh, I do kind of do that.
Yeah, it really feels like behind the scenes. Like, I think I was looking when I was researching for the episode, like you were laying in your bed, smoking your blunt, and I was just like, this is such a cool shot, but it gives me like behind the scenes, but it's still very private. So how do you like I know, like, you just kind of like it's off the whim, but how do you tiptoe that line of like, maybe I want to keep this to myself and maybe I want to be more vulnerable and share this? Because I feel like you're very vulnerable in your content too. And that's a place I'm trying to get to, but the internet is a scary place.
Internet is a very scary place. You never know which way it's going to go.
Right.
You know, I just kind of just do it. There's a lot that I do keep to myself, and I am very private. And I also feel like sometimes people give too much away.
Yeah.
You know, and I do like a little bit of like a mystery, but at the same time, like these are my moments. Like, you know, we only have one life, and I want to share it. You know, what's actually happening. I smoke a blunt. You know, I have my wine. I'm chilling on the patio. You know, in my little Speedo, and I'm cooking my food, and I'm doing all these like things if I'm walking to the park. You know, but it's just my real kind of life that I just want to remember these times, and then I think the shot looks good, so I'm like, whatever, I'll put it up. But it's really, I try not to overthink it, and I try not to over produce it because, you know, I think, I don't know if I'm a content creator necessarily. I don't think I'm an influencer necessarily. I'm just, you know, a person. But I do like to share these things, you know, and I do like to share, you know, my life and my world with people. But for me, the way I do it feels the best for me. So that's how I do it, and I'm happy with it.
I love that. I can also tell a lot of your taste, like in interior decor. Is that like a big thing for you too? Is that where you like kind of get creative as well?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I'm very, very big on interior design, spaces, atmosphere. Like one day you'll come over.
Yes.
But I would like to create like a nice atmosphere for like me just by myself when I'm at home, with me and my boyfriend, or like with my friends when we come over. I love creating like a mood and an environment that feels good and feels intimate. I like a little moodiness, but I also like some playfulness and some fun. And, you know, I like to kind of switch it up, but I'm definitely like an atmospheric person.
Yeah.
Like, I like for the atmosphere to be very fitting for wherever I'm at.
I feel the same because I feel like it matters depending on what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Like if I'm going to a coffee shop to work, but sometimes I want to be in a hotel lobby. So it just depends on like the mood and like the vibe I'm going for. And I feel like interior design, a lot of people don't take that in, but it matters. Like the way the wallpaper makes you feel. If I'm looking at something every day, it has to impact me in a way that I find fulfilling.
Yeah.
So,
Or I want to be comfortable, or I want to feel like, okay, I'm intrigued by like being in this space. You know?
Yeah.
And it doesn't take much. Like, honestly, I'm huge on candles. I love just to light candles, and we have so many candle holders and stuff in our house because we just love like having candles and moody light, even if we're watching like movies or TV or Housewives or whatever, and having wine or having like some music playing. And for me, like that's creating like a nice atmosphere.
Absolutely.
It's relaxing. So, you know, but I'm very big on interiors. That's definitely something I'm exploring.
As you should.
As we go.
Have you made the switch yet to the candle warmer, or are you still burning the candle?
Oh, I've been a fan of the candle warmer for a minute. But you know what? I am more keen to burning the candle. I do love a candle warmer, though, because of the aroma. I feel like you really get that aroma, which I love. But you reminded me. I probably should get back into the candle warmer. I do love the candle warmer.
I haven't made the switch yet. Like I've seen a few that I love, but it's just something about lighting a candle. But I hear that the candle warmer makes your candle last longer than actually burning it.
I like candle warmers for like just like I like to put like a essential oil and stuff like that with the candle warmer, and I feel like it just creates a good smell and then, like cool. Like I like it, but it's been kind of a while since I really used it. Now I just do the candles.
What about Bakor? Have you gotten into Bakor?
No, what is that?
It's like I think they use it a lot in Dubai, but it's like these little coals. It kind of reminds me of incense. But you put them in like a Bakor burner, and it kind of like lets off this aroma. And in Dubai, they have a Bakor brush where you can burn a Bakor and you brush it. in your hair, and it's supposed to give you like this aroma of like oud. If you like oud, like, it's a big strong thing. But I haven't jumped the bridge on that either. But I'm like, people that use it was like it really makes their home and their interior decor smell really amazing.
Okay, let's try it.
Yes, let's get some decor.
Let's get it at the same time. We'll revisit this conversation.
Right. Do you have a favorite candle brand of the moment?
My favorite candle brand at the moment. So I was saying its name so wrong for a long time. I was saying Malin Goots.
I know who you're talking about. I don't know how to say that right
I think
either.
it's called Malin Goats.
Okay.
I think that's what it's called. I don't know. I still say Malin Goots.
Mm-hmm.
But I really love their candles. They have this like rum one that smells really good and rich. And they're more on the expensive side. But if I'm going for something a little bit more affordable, the Dr. or Mr. Myers
Oh yeah, you can't go wrong with those.
Those are so good. Like those are just like the ones I just pick up for the house, like, you know, when you need something in the bathroom or you need something kind of in the hall. Like I love those, and they're so nostalgic to me.
Yeah.
So
and they fit any interior decor type of space. Like they just, you throw them right in.
They're so good. I love those.
Malin Goats, if I'm saying it correctly, they just did a collab with Kith. Have you smelled it yet?
I have not.
I saw someone wearing it at the block party in Harlem for Pride. And I was like, this smells amazing, but I want to go to the store and smell it because, you know, you sometimes have to, when you smell it on a person, it doesn't smell the same as it does in the bottle, but I want to go. And you're also, speaking of your taste, you're a foodie. So what are your go-to eateries in the city at the moment?
My go-to eateries in the city at the moment. Right now, I've been ordering and slash cooking a lot. So when I order in, I haven't really been to a restaurant in a minute. However, one of my favorites to go to is actually in Soho. It's called Babs.
Babs.
Babs. Really, really great food, wonderful drinks, and the hospitality is fantastic.
What type of cuisine is it?
It's kind of like a mixture of like American with like maybe a little bit of French, but it's really nice, and it's just a very moody kind of like cute, cool environment. I think the Olsens sneak in there every now and again.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of a low-key spot. Maybe I'm putting it on blast, but I think everyone should go. So
I'll have to try it out.
That's good. And where else? So I order a lot from this place called Ainsley, which is delicious. They do like a lot of American mixture food, and then I cook. So
Okay.
I like cooking.
Do you live in Brooklyn or Manhattan?
I live in Brooklyn.
Okay.
East Williamsburg.
Okay, cute. And before we get to the next segment, I want you to let us know, if you don't mind me sharing what we talked about prior to the show, about you are going to start pursuing your art full time.
Yeah.
So what does that look like for you, and where are you hoping to go?
You know, honestly, it's very, very much so a mystery. I'm leaving a lot up to the universe, but I'm taking that step to just leave. So I put in, you know, my notice for my job, my day job, and I'm just gonna see what happens.
Yeah.
You know, I have like 2 months left. I let them know in advance, but I'm just gonna pursue art, see where it takes me, pick up whatever if I need to, but you know, I'm just ready. I think I'm at that point, and you know, we'll just kind of see.
Yeah. Well, congratulations. I know how hard and scary that can be, but it's very fulfilling. So,
how long have you been out?
Since the end of February. So it's been about 3 months, maybe. And I feel like I'm living in two different worlds because, of course, it's like it's not consistent income, but the world I'm in creatively right now, it just feels so fulfilling. And I'm doing what I want to do. Yeah. And I'm creating things I want to create. And I'm like, I don't have any barriers. And it feels really great. And I'm putting my all into my creative endeavors because I know that they're going to bring me income. It hasn't brought me it yet, so that can be a struggle. And sometimes I can feel like, well, you shouldn't have left your job. You should have stayed, or whatever the case may be. But that's like a short-lived thought. It's scary, but I've always been the type to jump into fear as far as jumping from it. So I like it. I don't regret it at all.
I've kind of been the same. Like, I'm like, I'll just take the risk and see what happens.
Yeah, because I don't want to say I didn't take the risk.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, we can always pick up something and go work somewhere else.
Yeah.
But you can't always pursue your dreams. Like, you have to. The time's now. The world is insane. So do it right now. Do it right now. Have you gotten international customers yet?
Yeah, for sure. I've had like some people in Europe. I even had some people in South Africa.
Oh,
that
wow.
bought my work. What's crazy is I remember there was this guy. He was in Amsterdam, and he really wanted to purchase a piece for his girlfriend for, I think, her birthday.
Mm-hmm.
And this is around the time I first started, and I was like, oh yeah, okay, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I shipped it to him and everything. And I was walking. It was a couple months later. I was walking in Soho. And this girl stops me. She's like, hello, is your name Fritz? I was like, yeah. She's like, my boyfriend bought me your work. And I'm visiting. I can't believe I'm meeting you right now. I'm like, what?
That is crazy.
She's like, I love it so much. And he surprised me with it. And I was like, oh my God.
That is insane.
It was so cool. Like, I had like a crazy moment. I don't know. I always gag. It was really, really cool.
That is something to gag over.
Yeah.
Like, to see your piece somewhere else and then to see them on your stomping grounds, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you're doing the right thing for sure. Okay, now we're going to get into Fritz in the City, which is like a this or that. I'm going to ask Fritz this or that. He's going to tell me the first thing that comes to mind. He can flip the question on me or he can elaborate if he wants. Okay, you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So, hotel lobby or coffee shop when it comes to doing work outside of your home?
I feel like, why not do the hotel lobby? I feel like it's more grown up. I feel like, it's not as cliche. Don't get me wrong, I love a good cafe.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. There's something about, like, having, like, a hotel lobby kind of, like, book and wine and
Yeah.
that just feels
I like that too.
Sexy. I don't know. Yeah.
It does.
Yeah.
And it's like you never know who's going to come into a hotel lobby. I mean, you can say the same for a cafe, but people are actually come to hotels to stay.
Yeah.
So I like going back to interior decor. If it has nice interior decor, it's just going to elevate my way of doing my work, I feel. So
What's your
like
favorite
that too.
hotel lobby?
Right now, it's public.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm open to others. What are yours?
When I think of hotel lobby, which one I'm going to go to, it's also public. So we're on the same page.
Okay.
Yeah, I love public.
I went recently, and I guess it started to get popular, and they started like charging for Wi-Fi.
Really?
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I mean, I'll pay for it because I love the lobby, but I was like, oh, you girls must have been trying.
Yeah. Okay, public.
Right. Nikes or Adidas?
I love both, but I would have to go with Nikes because one of my favorite shoes ever are the Nike Air Riffs. I literally have them in my bag now. You know how girls have their like little slides for when they're running around the city? Mine are my Nike Air Riffs, so like I keep them in my bag when I just don't want to run around in my sneakers or loafers. I'll put those on before I get to the function and
There's a pair of Nikes that you wore, and I have not gotten them yet, but I will get. They sell out all the time, but they're like the tabby. That kind of give a Mary Jane.
Those are the ones I'm talking about.
Oh, those are called the Rips. Okay. Yeah. See, you're an influencer for Millies. Because when I saw them, I was like, oh my fucking God. Like, they look so comfy, first of all. And then it's just like they elevate. Wherever you wear them with, they just look like they're supposed to be with that outfit.
They're so comfortable. I have them in my bag, actually. So
Oh
I'm
my
really,
God.
can I pull them out?
Yes, pull them out.
I want to show you.
Y'all, I want these so bad. Like, I Googled Nike Tabby and they came up, so I never knew what that name was.
I think I found these on Grail. They're literally from 1996.
Oh, you got the first edition.
And they're old. And they came with, like, some damage or whatever. But I was like, I want these so bad. I don't even care. Like, I love the color. And they're, like, an old, shoe. But they're so comfortable. Like, they
look comfortable.
So, because of those, I'm going to go with Nike.
Okay. So, who has the best style? Solange or Kalila?
Ooh. I'm going to have to go with, even though I love them both, they both have my heart, I'm going to have to go with Solo. To me, she has the best style. I would say, I don't know, they both have great style.
Yeah, they both have really
They
great
both
style.
have great style, but I'm going to have to just pick Solange because
Yeah.
she's a Houston girl, and honestly, I just love her. I feel like she has amazing taste.
Yes.
And I just want everything that she has going on.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Like, I recently ordered her, well, not recently, but I ordered her glasses a while ago. And I was like, I'm not going to open these until I move. And then I moved recently and I got to open them and like drink out of them. And I was like, oh, it's such a great experience.
I haven't got the glasses yet, but they're on my list.
They're so gorgeous. Like, I don't even like using them like that. It's kind of like, you're going up that fine dishes. That's like my fine dish.
I love
Dennis Rodman or Lenny Kravitz?
Lenny Kravitz, no brainer.
Yeah.
No shade to Dennis. I think Dennis is an icon, but like, come on.
Yeah, yeah. Luca Sabbath or Jaden Smith?
Oh, I love them both. I think, I really like them both. I would say I'm gonna have to go with Jaden.
Yeah.
I think I'm gonna have to go with Jaden. I adore Jaden. I like his music. I think he's a cool kid. But I like them both.
I love how intentional he is about his style. Indica or sativa?
I'm gonna have to go with sativa. I love a little sativa. I mean, I love indica too, but sativa is like my go-to.
Yeah, sativa is like my social drug,
Yeah.
social strain of choice because it alleviates anxiety, but it also makes me more inhibited to just being. As opposed to indica can just like, it relaxes me, which can be great depending on the atmosphere, but yeah, sativa for me too.
Indica, I get super quiet. I'm more of a hybrid than anything.
Me
like,
too.
I'd rather
Yeah.
do a hybrid than a sativa or indica. But I do, because I feel like sativa makes me talk too much sometimes, and I get paranoid. Like, am I talking too much? This person's nerves. But like with a hybrid, I always feel very balanced.
Yeah. Have you been to Amsterdam yet? Speaking of
I
weed,
have not been. I can't wait to go.
it's my favorite city in the world. I think you would enjoy.
Okay.
And I love it more so because just the energy in the air. But like the experience of buying weed is completely different. It's because they tell you, they kind of do a little bit here, but over there it's like they tell you what everything is for. Like, this strain is for this strain is for this. So it just makes it like easier to find the mood and the person you want to be in the weed strain. So it's just it's a magical city. So
Okay, that's definitely up on my list.
really cute. Bay vacay or solo trip?
I'm gonna go with Bay Vacay.
What's your dream Bay vacay?
My dream Bay Vacay is probably somewhere on an island, far, far away. I
Yes.
don't know. I'm thinking, like, to be honest, I mean, we've been talking about Hawaii, like, just being out in Hawaii and, like, hanging out and doing our own thing. But, like, I'm definitely, like, a Bay Vacay. I would love to do a solo vacay, but, like, Bay Vacay just sounds so much more fun.
Yeah, absolutely. When you go on vacation, are you more of a person that likes to like explore the city, or you just like to like relax and?
I'm a person who likes to relax. I mean, don't get me wrong. I want to, like, go walk around. I'm not going to do, like, a touristy kind of thing. I want to feel like I'm in the culture. So I want it to be, like, very easy. Like, I leave from where I'm staying, and I can go walk around, and I can go to the grocery stores and explore around and come back home and take a nap. I don't need, like, a whole big itinerary of, like, sightseeing and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
But
It feels like work.
Yeah, I just want to feel like I'm on vacation, but I'm like I'm kind of just living here right now.
Yeah, absolutely. Loewe or Dries Van Noten?
I'm gonna have to go with Dries.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Dries. I like both brands, but I do think Dries is more my style, and I feel like it's more of like a classic brand. I love Loewe. It's having its moment. It's super trendy. But I just like how seasoned Dries is.
Yeah.
Even though I do feel like that Loewe collection, you know, it's beautiful. It's very beautiful, and it can get some of these girls out. But,
Yeah.
but
For sure.
But I definitely love the Dries Van Noten house and what they've been able to do and keep up with over the years. So
Absolutely.
I go with them.
I love how I love both houses too. I love how Dries they focus a lot on nature. and they bring that into the fashion. I just think that's very special. And I like that Loewe is very whimsical. Like, they focus on nature too, but it's very whimsical, like a bird purse or a tomato clutch. Like, it's just very out the box. So I like them both. When it comes to shopping in New York, do you prefer Fifth Avenue or Soho?
I'm a Soho girly, you know? Like, I feel like the first time I came to New York back in 2012, 2013, I visited with my high school, you know, sweetheart. And it was just so fun. We, like, explored Soho. Couldn't afford a single thing.
Listen.
Didn't know half of these brands, but I just really loved it. And then when I moved to New York, I started working in Soho, and I would be in Soho all the time. And Soho always have, like, a part of my heart. I think Fifth Avenue is, you know, that's for the rich gals.
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
I don't know, Soho's, like, just for, like, you know, we're in Soho. Like, it's, you know.
Last one, Theophilio or Loire?
I'm gonna have to go with Theophilio. Like,
okay.
Those are my people. I love Theophilio. I really love everything that they're doing. I think they are really, really making their mark in New York, especially when it comes to Black designers and
absolutely,
you know, going out of the box and really doing things that I feel like is rare for us. Like, I love the collaboration this summer with Warby Parker.
Oh, that was so good.
Yeah. And the creative team, I love it. And I, like, everyone involved in that, like, I live for them, and I fully support them. With Loire, again, I definitely support them, love Loire. But, I don't have that connection with Theophilio. Like,
I feel it.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let the people know where they can find and support you.
So you guys can find me on Instagram. It's Fritz Von, FritzVon. You can find my artwork at studio.Von Eric. And you can find me on Twitter at Fritz Von Eric. And you can find my website, fritzvoneric.com, if you are interested in a piece or have any inquiries. But that's where I'll be.
And I'll put all of that in the description of the video, so you can contact Fritz easily if you need to. Thank you again for doing this. Again, you're one of my favorite creatives at the moment, and I wish you well on your journey of pursuing your arts full time.
Yes, thank you so much for having me. This is amazing.
Of course. And as we say at the end of every show, leave here empty. Do not hold on to your gifts. Release them into the world. You cannot take them with you. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Ciao.